Welcome into WagerTalk TV. I am Drew Martin, joined by Brian Leonard and Kevin Dolan of WagerTalk.com as we are talking a West Coast battle here late on Saturday. Brian, coming to you first, we get San Diego State, the Aztecs, traveling to Salt Lake City to take on the Utah Utes in a rematch from last year. The Utes dropped it, but hey, this season, a lot different. They're -3 touchdown favorites here, -21, looking at the WagerTalk Live Odds screen. Low total here of 49. You liking anything in Salt Lake City Saturday night, Brian?
Yeah, this is a really interesting matchup. You mentioned it. San Diego State beat Utah 33-31 in overtime at home last year. So now everybody's expecting a lot of big revenge game for Utah here. It's also a big spread in this game. You rarely see this kind of thing for San Diego State. In fact, San Diego State, the last time they lost a regular season game by more than 21 points, was 2017, 51 games ago. The Aztecs were 7-3 straight up versus the Pac-12 since 2015. This line seems out of whack to me. Utah's the better team, there's no doubt about it. But I think Utah, that first game against Florida, I had Florida in that game, a little bit fortunate, but then Florida loses outright at home to Kentucky, kind of lessens the Utah effort a little bit there. Utah's only beaten two FBS teams in the regular season last year by more than this spread. 21 is too much. It's just the way San Diego State plays. Last year, they couldn't do a thing in the air. That's not what they do. They kept the ball away from Utah, and I think that's how they do it again. 21 points is outrageous in this regard. I like San Diego State. You're not going to win this game outright, but there's no way I could lay 21 with Utah here.
Sure, Brian. Good stuff. And Kevin, coming to you next. To Brian's point, you don't see a 49 as a total and one team laying 3 touchdowns in college football very often. So kind of a unique scenario in terms of side and total, both combined in this one. I don't know, though. What are you thinking here? Aztecs Utes.
Well, it's actually true. You don't see it that often, but it goes in with my way of thinking here because I like that San Diego State team total under. I just haven't been impressed with the Aztecs all year, especially in their offense. Braxton Burmeister, the Aztecs quarterback, put up just 5 of 10 for 51 yards in week 1 against Arizona. A Wildcats defense that gave up 320 yards last week through the air against Mississippi State. And, then follows that up with a 15-26 effort for 108 yards against Idaho State. So, it's hard to be impressed by those numbers. This is an Aztecs offense, primarily centered around the run game. But nonetheless, you simply can't be that one-dimensional at this level. And even with Utah having a hard time, containing the likes of Anthony Richardson back in week 1 against Florida. The Gators putting up 7.3 yards per rush in this huge defense as well. They simply won't face anything close to that in this game. So I'm expecting San Diego to have a really tough time in moving the chains here. As Brian mentioned, do I love the spread? Not particularly. Even though I do think Utah kind of dominate this game, I think 3 touchdowns probably is a little bit high for me, although I don't want to fade it either. So I'm seeing San Diego State at the 14-point mark in terms of a team total right now, around -120, -125. So that's the way I'd look to play this one personally. I don't see the Aztecs eclipsing that 2 touchdown mark here as, like I said, I believe this Utah defense shuts them down on Saturday. So, San Diego State team total under 14 points for me in this one.
All right, a team total from Kevin Dolan. Check him out, WagerTalk.com, as well as Brian Leonard. Late night action on Saturday, guys. Enjoy it. San Diego State and Utah. Make sure to check out WagerTalk.com. And a good day to do so is Tuesdays, $2 Tuesdays. Top handicappers, top play, discounted to just $2. Check it out, WagerTalk.com.